All right, it is 10 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order, certify that we do have a quorum. All 5 members are present. Item number 2 is opening prayer, and we do have John Hare to lead us in opening prayer. And following that, Commissioner Hollowell, will you lead us in the pledges?
Will do.
Please rise.
Let us pray. Almighty God, as we gather here this morning, we thank you for your many blessings in our lives. We thank you for the country in which we live. We thank you for the communities in which we live here and for your watchful eye over the citizens of Cooke County. We lift up our prayers, O God, for those who place themselves in harm's way, and we ask for your presence with them this day. We lift up our prayers for the County Commissioners Court this morning. May all of their decisions reflect both your justice and your mercy for this community. And we offer this prayer in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On our Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee in Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item 5 is public comments. I don't believe we had anybody sign up. Item 6 is the consent agenda. Does anybody have any items they wish to pull?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Commissioner Clement to approve the consent. Second by Commissioner Snuggs. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 7 is to open a public hearing regarding a tax abatement request by IFS Coating Incorporated. It is 10:02 and that public hearing is open. Do we have anybody that signed up for that public hearing? Do we have anybody who wishes to speak that did not get a chance to sign up? Seeing none, that public hearing is closed at 10:02, which is item number 8. Item number 9 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding a tax abatement request by IFS Coating. This was a tax abatement that the city of Gainesville did enter into, I believe, with IFS. I think we have some gentlemen here from IFS. If you don't mind, tell us what you're planning on doing and why you're requesting a tax abatement. You mind getting at the podium? Sorry.
Yeah, my name is Glenn Mason. I'm the president and COO of IFS Coatings. We started the business in Gainesville about 20 years ago, and we've expanded since then regularly. We're now up to about 140 employees in Gainesville. We want to continue expanding, and we're adding, excuse me, about 40,000 square feet initially, which is going to add about 20 jobs to start with.
If you're comfortable, and only if you're comfortable, would you take your mask off so we can hear you?
Sure. Is that better?
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
If you don't mind.
No problem.
You say you're going to add 45 employees? What?
We've added from day one. Obviously, the total company is over 230 employees. Gainesville's 140 employees. This current expansion, we expect to add about another 20 employees. But that's accelerated, depending on what's going on. Is there any other questions?
I just interrupted you to ask you to repeat that because I didn't hear the beginning of it. I don't intend to interrupt you through your entire presentation.
And the investment, the CapEx is?
The CapEx is running at about $6 million now at this moment in time. We're still working with the builders to fine tune that, but it's give or take $6 million at the moment.
Plus the equipment.
Oh, plus the equipment, excuse me, yes, as well. Kevin is a CFO. The equipment is expected to be another $3 to $4 million.
You're going to start construction this year?
We plan on starting construction as soon as possible. It was originally set for actually this time last year, but due to circumstances, we kind of withheld it. So, there's a lot of the actual drawings and other stuff have been done. So we're hoping to break ground within the next 6 to 8 weeks, hopefully.
And then if I understand this right, the new full-time employees, the 20, they have to be employed by 2024.
Oh, yeah, that'll, yeah. Certainly not a problem there.
And the agreement with the city, if, I believe, is 70% over 10 years. Is that the agreement you reached with the city?
Yes, sir.
And I'm assuming you're requesting the same by us?
Yes, sir.
I guess the inevitable question I have to ask is, if we don't grant this, would you still proceed?
We also have a facility in Ardmore, Oklahoma, which we opened up 6 years ago. We have 60,000 square feet there on 15 acres as well. So there's always, Ardmore's pretty aggressive as well. But I much prefer to stay in Gainesville, to tell you the truth.
And this is an abatement on the additional taxable value. It's not on the whole plan. It's on what you're going to be doing new, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Just so everybody understands.
Okay.
When they hear the word tax abatement, some folks think you're abating the whole facility, but that's,
You said you have 140 employees
We have about 140 in Gainesville, yes.
and would probably add 20.
We're thinking this expansion would add about 20, yes. But we're unsure. We weren't expecting the growth we've had over these years as it is. So it's been far more than what we originally expected.
And it looks like in the contract, it's 20 full-time or 40 part-time, is that correct?
Yes, it's more likely 20 full-time as opposed to the part-time employees. We like full-time employees.
Do you have any idea what the current taxable value is?
Kevin? Building and property exceeds $10 million. Far exceeds $10 million, I'm guessing.
Maybe an easier question, do you know what you're paying in ad valorem right now? Do you have any idea what you're actually paying in ad valorem tax right now? You might know that, where you might not know the taxable value. Did you work on this?
So it looks like about a little over 12 million total, Gary, in appraised values.
Okay. At 12 million, they wouldn't be paying $250,000, right? Judge, if I done the math right, over 10 years, they would pay, without an abatement, $274,000.
You've done the math, I'm assuming it's right.
Well, I've been known to.
I looked at it earlier, but I don't have that calculation in front of me.
And with the abatement, they'd pay $8,200.
do what now?
Have you done the math, Leon? Do you know?
No, just re-say what you said.
I've done the math. I think without an abatement, they would pay $274,560.
In additional taxes?
Just on the that's on a $6.5 million number.
Over 10 years?
That sound right to everybody?
That's probably close.
So if they were abated at 70%, they would pay $82,3680. I'm sorry, a year. They'd pay $82,368, obviously over 10.
So 8,000 a year.
8,000 a year. It's 8,000 a year versus 27,400. Again, I'm questioning. I'm asking for input. I'm not making.
Yeah, I'm trying to,
I took $6.5 million
so
divided by
you're
100.
talking just our tax rate, right?
Yeah, I'm talking just our tax rate. That's the one that we
That's
would
the
be
one there in front of
abating.
us. I'm just making
He's
sure.
got the fast fingers going. We'll let him do
Yeah.
the math.
6.5 divided by
So they
100.
pay about 27,000 a year, and over that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're in the ballpark.
8 versus 27. A little over 8 versus 27.
Right.
And looked like total tax, I'm assuming you were referring to total tax payments for 2020 would probably be in that $200,000.
Oh, because they're paying school tax.
You're talking, yeah, not just county
yeah.
tax.
And we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
two different things.
Yeah, we're not abating the school tax.
Yeah, we're not, we're just concerned with the county portion of that.
I mean, we all know.
It was an apples.
That's where I was
About 20.
getting, that's where I was getting confused about your numbers. I'm going, well, I don't know how you're figuring that.
Well, I just didn't figure we had the authority to bait anybody or our own.
You would be correct in that assumption.
Y'all went for City of Gainesville, y'all going to go for Gainesville ISD too?
Excuse me, sorry?
Y'all going for abatement with Gainesville ISD as well?
If they can do that.
Can't do that.
Yeah. No. No, we're not. No.
It has to be on a new project for that.
Well,
then.
schools are, they've changed up a lot of their,
So they're paying 250,000 right now. They're paying roughly 50,000 a year then to, or about $50,000 a year to Cooke County.
well, yeah, I could look and see the actual number, but yeah, that's probably a good estimate.
You're looking?
I'm looking. So road and bridge plus, yeah, that's a rough estimate, 50 to 60. Probably closer to 60 by the time it's all said and done. There's some ancillary properties there.
I make the same statement I always make, but if the county ever needs an increase in revenues over the next 10 years, those that are abated are not going to be affected. Those that are not abated is going to have to pick up the difference in the revenues. So that's something I always try to take in consideration. And we've got a 70% ask for 10 years for 20 employees. I think that's the summary, isn't it?
And will they go somewhere else?
I'm sorry?
And will they go somewhere else? Their expansion. That's the other equation,
So,
or the other part of the equation.
of course, that's always the leverage on an abatement.
Exactly.
And they could get the abatement for 5 years and go somewhere else anyway.
Yeah, they're established though here.
Well, that's true.
You know, they already got building there.
How long you guys been in business here?
Since 2000. Started in 1999, incorporated in 1999.
Yeah, 20 something.
We actually opened up in 2000.
Wow, you've been there that long already?
Yes, sir.
Seems like it was only yesterday.
And I personally have been here since 93. My father started up Spray Lab, which is obviously was pretty successful as well. My kid's here, everybody's here, so I'm not going anywhere.
And you might take the expansion to Ardmore, but you're not.
Well, we did back in
live with this, not me.
2015, 2014. We increased for a couple of reasons. One of them was just separation of the facilities in case there's a tornado or some stuff like that. But we have significant acreage there as well. The initial groundwork has all been done around Gainesville because that's the preference.
I guess the state income tax over there play any role at all?
It all works out the same.
The city of Gainesville, they receive any other revenues from your operations?
I don't believe so.
They get ad valorem tax, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you use significant water and sewage.
Correct.
So we can't recover our abatements like the city can.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if your product, whether or not y'all pay any sales tax on that somehow, which, see, Gainesville can get a substantial increase over sales tax that the county can't.
This is an industrial product, so there's no local sales tax.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we don't have
Yeah.
sales tax, but we are
part of the Gainesville Utility Co-op as well as, all of our utilities in
Cook County.
Cook County.
Yeah, you pay an electricity bill to Cooke County Co-op, but
Correct.
you pay water and sewer
City of
to
Gainesville.
the city of
yes.
Gainesville,
And
which
trash
offsets
disposal.
their loss
Yeah.
Sure, yes.
to an abatement. So where they might sign up for 70%, where I might be interested personally, I'm not speaking for the court, in signing up for an abatement, 70% would be aggressive, in my opinion.
I mean, one of the things I'd like you to look at is the history of the growth of the company and the amount of jobs that we have hired during the COVID, for example. We did not actually let anybody go. We kept all employees on, in addition to the, paying for them when they weren't able to work. And as we still do, we also, provided bonuses and stuff, all which is staying in the community to the actual workers. We were classed as an essential workplace. We supply a lot of stuff into hospital beds, the medical industry, coatings for that type of stuff. So
What kind of jobs are we talking about? We're talking blue collar? I don't want to know exactly what someone's making, but
we have some warehouse personnel. We have some middle management. We have also some factory floor type workers, laborers. Our average wage, though, has grown significantly since we've been in Gainesville. It's easily more than doubled. We're over an average of over $16 an hour there, just for our regular employees. So.
Well, abatements, in my opinion, I know you got to look at the present, but it's supposed to be more of a long haul, getting investment to the way we're supposed to look at it, but it's kind of hard to grant them whenever you're not going to get out of it what other businesses have to pay. But then again, we've given other abatement before. I know there's a very large apartment complex that got one real easily. I don't know how many jobs that provided. I don't know. It's kind of a tough time to be doing these. That's the other problem.
Understand. I mean,
And it's tough for you too. I understand that. And I understand why you're asking for it. I don't know what's the right answer in this. If you want to look at the long haul, if it's going to increase investment in the county and build another business, does that offset what you'll lose for 10 years or 7 years? Do you end up coming out the other side better off long term? That's the way I look at it.
The good thing about this type of abatement versus whenever we,
Speak up a little bit.
I was gonna say, the good thing about this abatement is the property appreciates and doesn't depreciate.
Oh, I got you. That's a point. I hadn't thought of that one.
And it doesn't have a lifespan on it, so it continues to
Yeah.
draw the taxes on it.
the actual building itself is also laid out for 70,000 square feet. So we already have a second expansion in the works. It's just a two-phase expansion. Part of the groundwork that we planned included, we made sure that we had enough area for that second expansion.
Gentlemen?
I'm letting you guys take the lead on this.
Chicken.
If you want my opinion, since it doesn't necessarily matter as much,
Still matters for another 30 minutes.
for another 30 minutes it matters,
You're the one who wanted to stay in there till the end of this meeting, so don't you go.
I really think you got to look at any time you're potentially adding jobs in an economic downturn. You've got to take that into serious consideration. I would suggest maybe instead of 70% over 10, we say 70% over 5, would be my suggestion. because that's during the build-up phase of this.
Even if they're just, I don't want to say just factory workers, but if they're let's say the lowest wage that they bring in, it's still $664,000 a year over 20 employees. That's at $16 an hour on a 40-hour week. Times 20.
But they do have a position where they can do 40 part-time versus 20 full-time, which would be, I assume you don't pay benefits to your part-time employees?
We really don't have that many
Part-time
part-time
employees, no.
employees at all. That was put in there, I'm happy that it is not our preference at all to have part-time employees in our business at all.
But it's in part of the contract.
Yes, sir. It is.
I'd look closer to 50% over 5, but
You said 50% over 10?
He said 50% over 5. I suggested giving them that 70% over 5,
70% over 5.
which is the 5, I mean, that's, by that end of that 5 years, you should have ramped up
Yeah.
both in construction and hiring.
What do we see the other industries in the area doing at this moment in time? Do you see any expansion in those industries or any, bringing in any more tax base at all? No, I haven't seen anything for a while. Obviously, when you look over the last 3, 4, 5 years, some industries come into Cooke County, which you've obviously abated. But is there anything new coming in at this moment in time?
No,
Yeah, not that I can
not that I
think
know
of.
of.
Yeah, I mean, most people are actually reducing their workforce and things like that, whereas we're continuing to invest heavily and expansion. So that's all I'd like you to think about as well.
So you're saying you wouldn't consider the 70% for 5?
You're asking me.
Yeah, yeah, I'm asking you. I'm asking the two of you.
I don't know, we would obviously review it with the owners. Obviously, we'll consider it.
Yep. There's two sides to every story. We're trying to balance this out.
Totally understand.
There are existing business people paying their taxes say, why do you ever get an abatement? It's kind of difficult sometimes to explain to folks, you got to be in this for the long haul. What can you bring in? Are you bringing in jobs? Or you're bringing in something new that's going to be taxed for a long time? They brought up some good points. Mr. Hollowell has a good point about he's concerned that we're giving something away, and the other folks are paying taxes. The other gentleman brought up good points about the jobs and this kind of property tends to at least stay stable, if not get more expensive. But right now, I think 10 years is a long time. That's me personally talking. I can't speak for them.
I agree.
But,
I don't know what the magic number is, but just 10 years is extreme.
well, we don't know what the county's revenue is going to do in the next 5. And with us at a 3.5% revenue cap, we've got some limitations put on us that we're not accustomed to, of course, from the
Understand.
state. And again, if we have to go raise those revenues, and we've managed well, and we've been fortunate not to have to, it falls back on all the property owners. So then we're out here justifying why we gave whatever that number is and deferred the.
Bearing in mind that we also pay a lot of other taxes on our existing property and stuff. Yeah, so we're not going to be excluded from that entirely. It's just this expansion here.
But again, ours is that 4224, and it goes unnoticed so often, but the county's going to get less than 25% of whatever that number is out there that you got. And I know it's a high number. $250,000 is a lot of money. The county's going to get 40 or 50 of that. And we're subject now to reduce that by 70%.
Well, but when you say that, it's the implication, I want everybody to understand. When you said that earlier, that's why I was confused. We're not talking about a 70% or 50% or whatever percent on the whole operation. We're talking about the expansion. And we didn't have it to tax before to begin with. Now, if we're getting something out of it and they're bringing new jobs, that's the way I explained it. You brought up a good point. We have to explain it to people. And it's to foster more expansion, more growth, and they are bringing in jobs. And I'll repoint that out. At one time, we gave a tax abatement to a large apartment complex, and it didn't bother anybody that day. I'm not being a smart aleck. I'm just trying to, of course, that was in different economic times. And you have a good point. How many businesses are expanding right now? And not very many. And after this group gets through with what we have now, I don't know what'll be expanding. Do we need to, if we're asking them to go refigure, what do we need to do? Table it?
Well, we can table it till next court, or we can,
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. Kevin is, and I kind of agree with him. If you're going to offer the 70% over 5 years, then, you know, I will agree to that now.
I'll make the motion for 70%
No,
over
I
5 years.
mean, I'm just looking down the table to see what everybody's
I'll
thinking.
I'll take the heat on this one.
No,
I made that motion, 70%
Second.
over 5 years, seconded by Commissioner Leon Clement. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. Ayes have it, motion passes 4-1. Thank you, gentlemen, and we'll get an addendum
Thank you.
put together on that,
Appreciate it.
that agreement. Thank you. Item number 10 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding procurement of 2 motor graders and related equipment for Precinct 3. Commissioner Hart, what you got here?
I think I need to do a little bit more research,
Okay,
and can we just table this to the next?
we'll just
meeting?
take no action and let you come back with however you want that in the future.
Yes, sir.
So item 10 will be no action. Item 11 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding courthouse annex remodel. I left this on there. There's nothing new to report. It's kind of I told them to hold off until the county judge position had been filled, and then probably need to do a workshop before giving them the green light on anything. So that will be no action. Item 12 is deliberate and consider possible action on the various grant funds. First one being FEMA 2015 flood.
There's no changes from last week on any of them.
So all the other items would be, unless anybody else has anything else on any of the others, since we did just meet on last Monday, there's only been a few days.
I got a question on the FEMA. Do we know what the last date, when our last date is that they'll pay?
That's a loaded
The
question.
12th of never. The 12th of never.
12th of never.
Yeah, the 12th
Okay.
of never. Anyway.
But y'all been having to request extensions, I think, along, Adam.
Right.
So, and
Well, I shared with you the email that we just recently got, that they said that your one project worksheet, that your extension expired in June of 20. And then the other 3 on the list were yours, Commissioner Clement.
Oh, it's funny because we just got through writing extensions for them. They never said anything about that. Now they come back and said, well, we've got to talk, we've got to talk, we've got to talk.
Right.
But,
And so, then after this afternoon, then I need to get the list, the form complete on the contacts changed. So I'll get the county judge changed and the commissioner changed on that form also. But, on that spreadsheet that I sent you, Commissioner, the ones highlighted in yellow, those are the ones you haven't been paid on from 2 years ago?
2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
They won't say.
And those are the ones that they keep asking for additional information that I keep talking about every court. And they've sent another one that I'm waiting on information now, that I talked about last week about they wanted the ad from the paper, all the submittals for the rock bids and the sheet that we compare all the prices to, and then the award announcements. Yeah, we're getting all that together.
They won't pay us what they owe us over 2 years ago, but now they're going nuts that we don't have the proper. You've heard of the word swamp? That's where FEMA 15 flood is residing right now.
But they of course would like it completed as soon as yesterday,
Yeah. Well, we're
as soon as
working on-
possible.
We're working on those right now.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Okay.
Shelley, have you heard anything about the 2020 COVID-19 FEMA funds going from 75% to 100% funded on everything?
Ray sent me an email this morning that the vaccination ramp up, that they'll pay 100%, but they're categorizing it as emergency protective measures, not the, I don't want to call it normal. Not normal, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had seen where they were going to 100%, and I was told by a fairly reliable source that all of it will be eventually.
Oh, really?
100%. But I was just wondering if anybody else started seeing some of that float through.
Ray shared that email just this morning, that anything to do with the vaccinations and they're categorizing it as emergency protective measures, and they'll pay 100%. But
That
but
may
other
be
than-
good, but that may be more headache too.
Well, I shared with HR to make sure that she keeps a list of everybody, employees that are working the vaccination clinics. Hopefully, Ray is helping keep track of that with your part-timers and you and anybody from EMS and all that. Those salaries will count. And then I know you've bought some items for those clinics, and we'll get those turned in.
Anything else on any of the other items?
No.
All right, 12 will be no action. Item 13 is executive session in compliance with Texas Open Meetings Act 551 of the Government Code, personnel matters, consult with attorney, and deliberation regarding security devices and audits. It is 10:32. We will take a quick break and go into executive session. All right, it is 10:52. We are back in regular session. Item number 14 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding public health declaration for COVID-19. Ray, you want to give us just a little update on where we're at, specifically vaccine stuff?
I don't want to say it's any decline, but it's going down. Certainly not keeping place about not doing what we do. So it's just the way the public goes after the holidays that we are coming off of that high. Hospitalizations, at least in our area, is counting on. Great. So, it could be a lot worse, fortunately, it's man, not great. Either we do, you don't know, we are fortunate this week to receive 400 doses of vaccine, first doses, and we will have Thursday at the service. So don't come to the civic center, you don't have an appointment. You got an appointment, you got a shot. So, you know, hospitals, departments of the city and county, everybody together to make the staff. So hopefully at the beginning of the
My two questions are, how many people have signed up so far? Okay, so that's what I figured, it's going to be a small percentage. And then those 400 doses, does that include the second shot for those people? Or so will it be dependent on the? Okay. And by that time, I'm hoping the vaccine is plenty readily available at that point, should be.
It's on
Okay.
we are getting
second doses for those that we have received the first dose for. They're just not being counted and publicly displayed, reported, because they're a second dose already committed to those that got
Yeah,
that
they're
first
spoken.
dose. So we're really only counting or talking about first dose new vaccine people.
And that was a procedural question for me, just curious if that 400 doses really meant that there's 800 shots sitting there, but it's 400 people.
No, it's 400 new shots.
How many shots have you given so far in the county?
It's probably around 1,200. I don't have it right in front of me. 200 of those doses were given to the state school
Yeah.
for their staff and population there. So actual first doses in the county, I believe, were around 1,200.
Do they give you any indication at all when they think this will start ramping up a little bit more on vaccine?
So the speculation, well, so what we know is that Pfizer and Moderna have been approved. We have continued to receive Moderna vaccine here. Those allocations come from the federal government once a week to the state, and it's early in the week, Sunday, Monday. The state's expert vaccine allocation panel then takes that total allocation and divvies it up based on second shot, first shot, and then determines where it's going to go. And then the actual providers in the counties and cities throughout Texas get their notification on usually Thursday-ish, the end of the week, for vaccine they'll receive the next week. So visibility beyond the next week, we don't have.
There is.
There is none. So the next bright spot on the horizon that everybody is watching is Johnson & Johnson. Their vaccine, everyone's anticipating their request for emergency use authorization by the FDA next month. And if that happens, of course, now that's a third vaccine provider in the mix, and that could increase availability.
And that's the one shot. Is that the one shot one? No.
I believe it is a single-dose vaccine.
The Johnson & Johnson is
That's the
one
one
shot.
shot.
It also doesn't require near the cooling and some of those other
It's
things.
not as difficult to
Yeah.
store and transport. So we're trying. We're doing it as fast as we get it, but until we get it, we can't give it. And so I know everybody's anxious and wants to get their vaccine, and I've heard people saying that everybody in Texas is getting it. Why isn't Cooke County? And I can only tell you that the information is out there. It's publicly available on the Department of State Health Services website under vaccine. And there's 29 million people in Texas, and I think last week we were up to about 1.5 million vaccine. So everybody in Texas is not getting it ahead of Cooke County.
254 counties fighting for it all.
Yeah. That's going to take a while. If everybody will get vaccinated, and I assume not everybody's going to get it vaccinated. Well, I like the idea you're doing it in a centralized place. I know some people don't, but just the aggravation to try to keep up with the logistics and the name tracking and everything, if you had it spread out in a half a dozen locations, would just be
Yes, sir.
a nightmare. And I imagine it's bad enough the way it is.
It's adventurous.
It's what?
It's an adventure. Consolidating it in one location, at least for now, I feel is the best opportunity to get the most vaccine
Yeah.
from the state also, is what they've told us. And, we don't anticipate doing this job long-term. We don't want to do it for long-term. It's to get us through this thousands in a week bubble until we can get enough sufficient supply of vaccine and enough providers registered to get to give the vaccine. That then you can go to your doctor's office, pharmacy, or clinic and get the vaccine. I'd love to have that happen, and I can't wait for it to happen at that level. But until then, we'll do the best we can to get it in the most people as fast as possible.
And if they get a one-shot dose, that's going to simplify everything quite a bit.
Other questions for Ray? All right, appreciate it, Ray. Item 15 is future agenda items.
I'd like to put discussion on a speed limits for my precinct.
Oh, Kathy's writing these down because I'm gonna.
Yeah, I have the same thing. I need to join in with him in some speed reduction.
We need to work on some specifics for that tire disposal effort.
Oh, the tire disposal, we don't want to.
And I think you've already got that noted for me for next court, but
I'd like to put my deal back on too.
And then Adam's motor grader stuff. Once you figure out exactly.
Water heaters.
Maybe you'll have some quotes by then. Anything else?
All the exciting things of life.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's the necessities.
Necessity.
If not, we'll move on to 16, which is closing remarks by the county judge. I kind of went back and forth on how to wrap this up, and I wrote down a few words, so hopefully this doesn't take too long, but Daryl's got to refocus the camera on
Just you.
just me, apparently. Oh, no. I wasn't expecting that. Uh-oh. All right. So as this chapter of my career comes to a close, I want to take just a few minutes to reflect. I've immensely enjoyed serving the citizens of Cooke County over the past 12 years. I've especially enjoyed the last 6 years as county judge. The friendships and memories that I made will be deeply cherished. To the citizens of Cooke County, thank you for allowing me to represent you both as a justice of the peace and as county judge. It will undoubtedly be some of the most valuable times of my life. Although you may not have agreed with every decision that I've made, they've all been made with much deliberation. I've tried to listen to all that have spoken. Every decision that I made is with you all in my heart. I believe that my time as county judge has helped set a framework for this county for years to come, and I hope and pray that that is the case. To the county employees, thank you for your tireless dedication to Cooke County, especially over the past 10 months. You are the foundation for which this county functions. Day in and day out, you seek to better this community. And I wish you all the best of luck in the years to come. And finally, to the commissioners, it's been an honor to serve with you all. I wanted to let you know that I will be your biggest cheerleader. To quote George H.W. Bush when he was leaving office, I wish you all guys the success as a commissioners court because your success is the county's success. I'm rooting hard for you. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you, guys. Next item is to adjourn, and then after adjournment, we'll swear in the new county judge. We have a motion by Commissioner Snuggs, seconded by Commissioner Arndt. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes 5-0.